What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John back again, and we continue to be sponsored by Flyers Indoor Golf. Um, we will be doing a bit of a shout out on tomorrow's video, so I'm not going to do it today. You know who you are, um, but we're going to wait until the little lad's birthday. So, Flyers have been really kind to a particular young lad who's had a really bad time. I'm not giving the surprise away yet. You will find out tomorrow if you are watching. But Flyers have been really, really nice. Whatever match you can attend. So little surprise there. But Flyers have come in with a really, really nice gesture. So make sure, guys, that you support Flyers because they're doing an absolute solid for one of our subscribers. And we'll all find out about it tomorrow. Right. We have moaned and moaned and moaned, John, about a right winger. And we still may not have one. But we have appeared to have been busy today in the transfer window with a couple of bids going in. Looks like one has been accepted and, to be honest, may well be happening. So what's your take on... Let's start with the young lad, Adamu, I'm going to go with. 19 years old. I watched him in the young European competition. I think it was last season, and he was brilliant. So I'm excited about this player. £9 million doesn't sound like a lot of money in today's money. What's your take on it?
Well, first of all, we've spoke about on here about how the Freakins want to do their business and sign young players and, you know, build a model like that, because it's been a long time since Everton have really gone down that road where we've brought young players in, and in years to come, if for whatever reason we do sell them, we make a profit on them. And for £9 million in today's market, it's good business. Now, Millsy's dropped some of his stats into our group, and he looks very able that he can do a good job. And I want to talk about Mykolenko as well, because he's the one who was going to be under pressure for his place if we sign this young kid. Now, I said this to Frankie before, Mykolenko, for a good few years now, hasn't really had any competition. And I don't know whether he's become very lax and settled and stuff, but we've said on here, defensively, Mykolenko isn't very good. Going forward, he's very capable of putting some great crosses in. He can get forward. But defensively, I think sometimes he leaves a lot to be desired. Now, this kid's going to come in, put him under pressure for his place. By all accounts, he wants first-team football. So I don't know whether Everton have offered him that. He is going to have to make that place his own. But going back to what I said before about the stats Millsy had sent us, I think he's very capable from what we've seen, and as you said, from what you've seen in the European Championships. I think he's very capable that he could come in and he could make that left-back spot his own.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The only thing I think me and you have got a different of opinion on is regarding Mykolenko. I think Mykolenko as a defender is solid. He very rarely gets beaten one-on-one. I think he's pocketed Mo Salah time and time again. He's pocketed some of the better wingers in the league, in my opinion. We all have different...
No, he has, but I don't think he does it consistently where you could say if he's got competition for his place, he doesn't do it consistently enough for me to brush that competition aside.
And that's not an issue. For me, it's the actual going forward bit. You know, you're right. He can put in some good crosses, and he's got a couple of goals, etc. But for me, we're used to seeing players like Leighton Baines. We're used to seeing players marauding down a wing, causing real problems, and he doesn't do that. He doesn't have that ability to beat a person. And I think a winger, a left and right back now, they have to have the ability to beat a player one-on-one. They almost have to be as good as a left or right winger. And Mykolenko is certainly not that. And that's not a dig at Mykolenko, because I do like Mykolenko, but I never thought he justified his price tag. and I still don't. But he's one of those players that I can almost live with. You know, I can live with. He's a solid player. But I think if Everton want to move forward, you're absolutely right, John. One, there needs to be competition in every spot. And two, fundamentally, you're bringing in what me and you have literally, I think, 3 or 4 videos were talking about young players who have got the ability to adapt, to grow, to change, to develop, and turn into superstars. And whether that means that Everton push on and get into the Champions League and all of those fantastic things that, you know, I think the Premier League now have absolutely made it clear cut that there is a top 4, top 5, and no one else is gate crashing that. But what that does mean for Everton is that we've got a player that can help our PSR standpoint. It means we can rely on a player that's going to not get us out of shit, because we don't plan on being in this shit from a PSR perspective. But if we need to have a big summer, we've got an asset that we know that we can sell for big money and go and reinvest it in the squad, etc., etc., etc. So for me, it makes complete sense. It's not a huge amount of money. It's moved very quickly. I'm happy. I'm happy with this signing. Do you get what I mean? Like it's one of those players that ticks the boxes, because we do need a left back. There's no getting around it. We do need a left back, but we need probably other places even more than we need a left back. But 19-year-old lad with the experience he's got already for 9 million quid, I just don't think you should be bypassing that if you get the option to buy it.
Well, listen, he's come from Bayern Munich, so, you know, he's a decent player. And as you said, you've seen him play in the European Championships. I've watched before a couple of YouTube videos since we've been linked with him today. Again, I'll mention the stats, Mills. He said, I think he was first on a lot of them stats in the Bundesliga last season. So we're definitely getting a player. Listen, we all know the Premier League is a massive step up. It is a massive step up. But you say we needed more areas of the team filling probably before a left back. We do, but we definitely needed a left back, just like as much as we need a right back, because we need cover, we need competition. People on this channel know my opinion on Nathan Patterson. He's not good enough for the Premier League. Ashley Young's gone. Seamus Coleman, you're not going to get many games out of him. Okay, Jake O'Brien played there. But I think in years to come, I think Jake O'Brien and Jarrett Branthwaite will be our central defensive partnership. So we need to bring a left back in and a right back in now, as well as this right winger that we're all shouting about, as well as this central midfielder we're shouting about. David Moyes done a thing last night in New York, and he was saying he's hoping to have between 9 and 10 players in before the end of the transfer window. I will be over the moon if Everton can get that many players in. I don't know whether he's including the 2 who've re-signed, on a guy in Keane, and obviously we brought Alcaraz in. We've got a keeper, we've got a striker. So if we can bring another 4 or 5 players in this transfer window, then I think all the worry that a lot of Everton fans had, me included, not every Everton fan, because there's still some out there who are quite relaxed about the amount of work we've done in the transfer window, but I was getting very worried. Now, if we can add these 2 players who we've been linked with today to the players we've brought in, and then obviously bring the right back in as well for cover, I actually think Everton try for another striker as well. I think if we can bring 9 or 10 players in this transfer window, as I was going to say before, I think my worries about the lack of movement in this window, I think them fears can be put to bed, because if we can get that many players in who improve the squads, and we're going to bring more quality in, because what's the point in bringing worse players in than what we've got? You'd like to think that won't happen. The names we've been linked with, the players who we've brought in, the likes of Barry, the backup keeper, it could be an exciting season. And I am starting to get a bit more positive now, because we have said on here for the last couple of videos, we're sick of, we've contacted the agents of such and such, Everton have shown an interest, and it's gone no further. Now we know today there's at least 2 bids gone in for 2 players. So things are looking to move now.
Yeah, spot on. And I think this is not a dig Well, I mean, I'd be digging at myself anyway. So, this is a dig at all of us, actually. So it's a dig at you, it's a dig at me, it's a dig at everyone. But we all get like this, don't we? We all get like it, and then all of a sudden we sign a player and we're a bit more optimistic, or we do it. And we're football fans, we're fickle. I get it, like I understand, but it's just a better feeling. It's a better feeling knowing that something's happening, that something's not happening. And
I think Everton fans, mate. This isn't a dig at Everton fans because I love all Everton fans, but I think most Everton fans are very fickle, me included, you included, and 1 minute we're down in the dumps and it's doom and gloom and we're not doing nothing in the transfer window. Then all of a sudden we're all like dogs with two dicks, aren't we? Because we've been linked with two players today.
But there is a reason for that, and the reason is we all just want success. We all want to get back to the 80s. We all want to get back to the 60s. Some people, we all want Everton to be on the front foot. So look, I get it, and we're allowed, and may continue. That's what I say. Everton wouldn't be Everton if we didn't beat each other up for 19 games this season, and we're happy and buzzing for the other half. So
it'd be boring, wouldn't it? Because if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be used to it, because we have hassle on social media. We get shit on here in the comments. We get shit when we're out and about. And listen, it adds to the excitement of being an Everton fan, because this is going to sound really downbeat, but let's be honest about it. For 80 to 90% of the time, it's actually shit being an Everton fan, isn't it?
Oh yeah. The one thing I want to you've just mentioned is some of the shit we've got lately on different platforms. Certainly me, Jesus Christ. Honestly, some of the comments last night were a joke, and I'm going to reiterate my stance. So that's how much of a point I'm making to this. I don't care, right? And this is a fundamental. So if you want to unsubscribe to the channel, do it now. So I don't care if you disagree with my opinion, because we're all entitled to one. But the point I was making in last night's video is you cannot get people to spend £60 on a membership saying you're going to get priority access to tickets, and then those tickets go in a ballot for pretty much anyone that's got a membership, £30, £60, whatever. On top of the fact that they're then selling these seats to premium, £100, £300 seats for whatever. I disagree with the way that Everton have delivered the memberships, and I disagree with the way that they did yesterday with the balloting for the tickets. And if you don't disagree with that, that's fine. But I do disagree with it, and that is also fine.
I'm not being funny. The only people who have had a pop at you will be the minority, because from what I've seen and how I feel about it, I do think it's an absolute disgrace that people can just get put in a ballot for nothing, and the other half of the people can spend that much money on a membership to have just as much of a chance as getting a ticket. So I'm with you. I think it's shit the way Everton have done it, but unfortunately it's a business, and we've said it on here, we've wanted to be run like a business. Do I agree with what they've done? I'm in your camp. So if you're going to have a pop at Michael, you can now have a pop at me tonight. I think it's an absolute disgrace the way Everton have done this ticketing.
It's good, because one of the comments last night was, John will be the rational one here. So you are also irrational, like me, John. So, you're a disgrace as well, mate. You, me, disgrace.
I've been called worse on the channel. So listen, it used to affect me. Now it just goes over my head and it's water off a duck's back. So have a pop at us.
I don't know where he's gone. I don't know where he's gone. I don't know what's happened. Oh, he's back.
We both went.
Oh, well, that might be me, not you then. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I don't know what's going on here. One of us is consistently going in and out now. I don't know. I don't know whether it's me. I don't know whether it's John. But either way, it's broken.
Well, no. So anyway, hopefully it doesn't happen again. What's just happened? But listen, I'm not going to be the irrational one on this. I think it's shit the way Everton have done this, in my opinion, getting people to buy memberships and the people who haven't have still got as much of a chance as the people who have. So, yeah, I don't agree with it.
Yeah, that's fair. Right. Let's talk about the other signing. Oh, no, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The other rumour, which is Malik Fofana. Now, he has been linked with several massive clubs this window. Bayern Munich, Chelsea. I think at one point he was linked with Arsenal. He's been linked with Newcastle. And now I think Everton are the first club to actually officially submit a bid, which is around 36. I think it was 31 plus add-ons that was rejected. Everton went straight back with 36 plus add-ons. I suspect that'll get rejected and it'll be something like 38, 40 million with add-ons. But me and you have got the same consensus on this. I don't think we sign him.
Well, looks like there's a €4 million, pounds, whatever way you want to look at it, difference in opinions and difference in valuation between Everton and Lyon. Now, he's a fantastic player. And he's the player that I always ask for to get my big fat ass off my seat consistently. And he is one of them players. So if Everton want Malik Fofana with the clubs he's been linked with, then we have to move fast. So if the difference is only €4 million, £4 million, whatever it may be, just offer it and get it done, because this is the position that we are screaming out for, that we need quality, and he is quality.
Yeah, we've been linked with a few young, talented players now, and we can see the model. You know, you can absolutely see the model. You know, Barrett, young, Aznou, young, Malik Fofana, young, Alcaraz, young. You can completely see the model that Everton are going for, and it is exciting. It's just difficult. We've also been linked with Tyler Dibbling, and by all accounts, that is also concrete interest as well. So,
and he's a good player.
And he's a good player. And, you know, at one point they wanted 70 million for him. Obviously, they're not getting that. It's going to be more like 35, 40. But all of a sudden, we are being linked with, in my opinion, some of the best young talent in Europe. And all of a sudden, Everton are going, us as fans, I think we are absolutely right to be excited. Now, Malik Fofana is not an out-and-out right winger, and nor is Tyler Dibbling. But I think what Moyes is trying to create is a team of attackers that can all play everywhere, that can sort of interlink and swap. And that does excite me. Now, if we get an overloading right back, if we get one of those right backs, you know, like Coleman was for years, where we'd overlap and he'd put a ball in the box, or we'd cut inside and get a goal, you could always guarantee 3 or 4 goals from Seamus Coleman a season. If we're getting a right back like that at some point, it doesn't concern me that these players aren't out and out right wingers. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, and I also think, going back to the model, we've also been linked with James McAtee as well, who's a young, exciting, very, very good player. Now, in a nutshell, this is my opinion. The players that Everton have gone for in the past have always been, not always, but the majority of the time, have been players past their prime or just in their prime with no sell-on value. So it was easier for Everton to do business for that sort of player because there wasn't as many clubs in for them. The model that Everton are going down now with young, exciting players who will have a sell-on value, good prospects, because Everton, hurts me to say this, are not as attractive as what they were in the 80s and the 90s, it's going to be harder for Everton to bring younger, attractive talent in, because when you're going after players of a certain age and a younger age with a certain mentality, with what the sort of model that Everton want to go down, other clubs are in for them players as well. So then it comes down to these new people who have been brought in on the board and David Moyes himself to sell the project. because that is the only way we're going to get the likes of McAtee, Fofana, them sort of players. That's the only way you get young prospects. Tyler Diblin's another one. This project needs selling to them. And if we can get them players over the line with age on their side, haven't hit their prime yet, but they're very, very good young prospects, we're going to have to work twice as hard, because when you go for that sort of player, a lot more clubs are in for them as well.
So I'm going to ask you the killer question, because me and you have argued about this and everything. So I'm going to ask you the question and put you on the spot, my friend. If you knew that this was the model before maybe last week and the week before, when you lost your head a little bit and you were like, there's no centre midfielder, there's no right winger, would you have allowed more time, or do you still think these players should be in the football club now?
Well, I'll still stick to what I said. I think Everton have been quite slow since the 1st of July. And if you want quality, you have to wait for it until the right time comes to get them in. I don't regret my head falling off. But on the flip side of that, the softener for me is now the quality of player we're being linked with. So if it means my head fell off, then so be it. But if you turn around and say to me, 10 days ago since your head fell off, we're now in for Fofana, we're now bringing a young prospect in at 19 years of age who had a really good season, Tyler Diblin's another one. If you would have said to me 10 days ago, they're the sort of players that we're going to be linked with, but you've just got to wait, then I probably wouldn't have jumped the gun as much. But I will still stick to it. I still would have liked more new faces through the door to get used to the pre-season with this football club.
I completely agree. I completely agree with that, and I think that's where it was difficult for me, because I'd give it a time frame, if you get what I mean. Like in my head, I'll give it a time frame, and my time frame was when they get on that plane. I wanted a central midfielder and a right winger, and it didn't happen. And that was when, at that point, I was like, I'm upset, I'm disappointed, I wanted this, I haven't got that. And every fan will have their own almost cut-off point. Yours was earlier than mine. There was fans that were well earlier. There was fans that were well earlier before yours. I mean, there was fans that were like 1st of July. I wanted it. I wanted us to be done, and I didn't think that would ever happen. But did I want these players in? By the time we went to America, so when we played Bournemouth tonight, we look like the team that is starting to settle for the Premier League. Yes, I did, and that hasn't changed. But you are absolutely right in saying, if I realised we were going to be going and signing, in my opinion, some of the best, or trying to sign some of the best young European talent in football, I probably would have allowed them a bit more time to do those deals, to make the right time, to do it at the right point. But what I think they've allowed clubs to do, and I think it's clever, is I think they've allowed clubs to go off and spend the money that they were going to spend, leaving Everton in a position where they go, we've still got the money, guys. We can come and buy it. Whereas Chelsea now, I'm not saying they do look at PSR, but they probably have to be more careful. You know, they need to get players out the door first. So I think you've got these other teams that have spent significant amounts of money that are going, can we go and spend another 45 million quid? And they're going, I don't know. I don't know if we can or we can't. Well, Everton can categorically say, we can and we will.
Well, the thing is, like, when it comes to this transfer, when my head was falling off, you sort of put a date on it, whereas I didn't have a date. I wanted it done earlier, from the 1st of July. So I think that was the difference between me and you, whereas you wanted them on the plane. You had a cut-off date, or your head was going to fall off just like mine had. Mine fell off earlier because we all knew, and we were quite open on this channel, that the 30th of June was practically the end of our PSR worries. And from the 1st of July, I said we needed players in because we lost that many players. We needed players in to hit the ground running in pre-season. And it hasn't happened. You look at the Bournemouth game tonight. There's only really Barry there, apart from obviously the backup goalkeeper, who's a new face. We know everybody else. So when you look at this first 11 tonight that's going to play against Bournemouth, if I would have knew what I know now when my head was falling off, but the better quality of prospects were being linked with, some of the young talent were linked with, then I probably would have been a bit more reserved, because I'm going to say it now. This 11 that start against Bournemouth tonight is going to look completely different on that Monday night against Leeds. And if it means we have to wait to get the talent in, and as you say, Chelsea have gone out and spunked all that money. Man United have spent 110, 120 million on Cunha and Buemo. You know, Liverpool have spent a lot of money. Listen, we're not going to challenge the likes of Liverpool. You know, the streets ahead of us. But as you say, it's like a game of Monopoly that Everton have played, where everyone has a game of Monopoly, and as soon as they can, they'll buy a house, they'll buy a hotel, bang, 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 bang. And then you're sitting there going, you're fucked, because I've got all my money here, and you know what? It's going to go tits up for you, and I've got all this money. And I think that's how Everton have looked at it now. They've still got their money in reserve, whereas a lot of the clubs have been like kids in a fucking sweet shop. That's what Chelsea have done. And listen, Chelsea have had a talent. Chelsea are going to have a very good season, in my opinion. Liverpool, I think they won the league already, but they bought it. That top four, and that's for another video, because my head fell off over the way the Premier League is turned out as well, because there's a Super League for the top four teams now, and the rest of the teams in the Premier League, that's their Premier League. There's a Super League in the Premier League now. That's for another video, because I think it's shit how certain teams get away with it. But I totally agree with you. Just to go back to what you were saying, I think Everton have sort of took a step back and had their list of targets, hoping that no one has come in and snapped them up. And now Everton can go and get their targets now, or try for their targets. And if we can get a player like Fofana over the line, and that's Everton, that's the way Everton have treated this transfer window, then all well and good, because I can start picking the pieces of my head up again.
Yeah, spot on. I think it's going to be interesting with Fofana, because, you know, I've already come out and said I can't see Everton signing him. And that's not because I don't want to. It's just, I think he's such a talent that it would shock me if he doesn't end up at a club in the Champions League. It would shock me. But do I want to sign him? Absolutely.
Sell the project to him. Offer him good wages, because he's worth it. Give him, you know, Fofana is going to be one of, if not, what you call it?
Standout.
Well, yeah, you know, he's going to be our superior player, isn't he? You know, listen, I love Iliman and Dye, but when you look at this Everton squad, if you can get a player in like Malik Fofana, he's your poster boy, isn't he? He's your major signing. He's the one who will make other teams go, look me, how did Everton get him over the line? If Everton want him, they're going to have to work hard to get him. I'm with you. Do I see it happening? I'm probably 60-40 that it doesn't happen. But, you know, if Everton can get this over the line, this also gives Everton some confidence when we're going after other young prospects and other top players as well, because then them players will go, well, hang on a minute. Everton sold the project to Malik Fofana. Look at the player they've got. I want to be part of that. I want to be the poster boy just like he is. Yeah, I'll go there. And hopefully in a couple of seasons, all this new model that Everton are going down and the new road Everton are going down won't happen overnight, but give it 2 or 3 seasons when these players that were being linked with, if we could get them in, the likes of McAtee, Fofana, the left back, it will start coming to fruition and people will start noticing Everton again.
Spot on, John. Spot on. Right, guys, look, we will leave it there. Make sure you go over to Flyers in your goal. Get on the website, get yourself booked on, get some rounds in that diary. I don't know about match reaction tonight because, I mean, it's going to be late where I am. I mean, it's going to be morning where I am. And I think you guys are 2 hours behind. So it's going to be very late for you guys as well. So, look, I don't know if we'll end up doing a match reaction tomorrow rather than tonight. We will see. But yeah, apart from that, guys, look, up the toppies, keep smiling, we keep moving, and all of a sudden it looks like we might be doing some business, which is always nice. Do you agree, John?
Yeah, things are looking better, aren't they? Couldn't have got any worse.
Amen, brother. Right, up the toppies. See you soon, people. Peace.